See how Arab journalist can't condemn Hamas for October 7th, but blames Israel for actions taken by them. I think that's why they hide their faces.
Can I ask you, just finally,
What
in the wake of that massacre of Israelis on October the 7th, what to you would be a proportionate and reasonable response from the Israeli armed forces to that massacre of their nationals? What would be, you think, reasonable?
I didn't get your question. Can you say that again?
Given the massacre of 1,400 people, Israelis, women, children, the taking of hostages, 199 hostages, all of the horrific atrocities involved in that massacre by Hamas, what do you believe, as a Palestinian journalist living in Gaza City, what would be a proportionate and reasonable response from the Israelis to that?
You know what is the saddest thing here is that
no, answer
we
my
only
question,
heard,
please.
you know, we only heard the mainstream media or the media in the West.
No, please, Wafa, please answer my question. What you're saying that the response of the Israelis right now is unacceptable. You're calling it a massacre. What would be a reasonable response?
It's ethnic cleansing.
Okay, so what would be a reasonable response?
You know, like we have been suffering, have been subjected to the Israeli occupation of brutality and oppression since nearly 75
so what
years.
Would be a reasonable response?
And even we have 5,000 Palestinians are still in the Israeli occupation jails. We have 170 Palestinian kids that are still in the Israeli jails. We have nearly 40 Palestinian women inside the Israeli jails.
Wafa, you're a journalist. You're a journalist. Yeah. I'm a journalist. I'm asking you, from the perspective as a Palestinian woman living in Gaza City, what would be, if you think the Israeli response is unreasonable, disproportionate, it's wrong, what would be the right, proportionate, reasonable response to 1,400 of your people being massacred? What would be acceptable to you for them to do, other than say, oh, well, never mind, we'll just carry on as usual, which is clearly not going to happen. One final chance, what would be the reasonable response?
Yeah, you are just saying that we are journalists, and I'm a Palestinian journalist, yes, living here under this harsh condition.
You're just not going to answer. Do you not think that's a reasonable question to ask you?
Listen, it's the question. I mean, like, you didn't know that they committed, like, since we here in Gaza, since nearly 17 years.
I do know that.
We have been, Israel.
Stop telling me what I don't know and answer the question.
Yes.
Why is that such a difficult question to answer?
Sorry, I'm answering your questions here because, you know, you just look to the Israeli side and you
I'm not looking at just the Israeli side.
What is happening.
I'm asking you a reasonable question. What's a proportionate, reasonable response to that massacre?
You know, like, listen, I'm just reporting what I see as a journalist from here, from Gaza. I saw that the Palestinian people are suffering in a daily basis because of the Israeli brutality against them. The occupation...
And because of Hamas's brutality.
Listen, the Israeli occupation, they are using brass bombs. Yeah, they are using internationally banned weapons.
Again, still not an answer to my question. Should we give up? Should we just give up? You're not going to answer the question. We'll have to leave it.
It's a collective punishment. What is happening here is a
collective punishment. So what would be the correct response?
But look at the very beginning. We were living, like, I'm a Palestinian refugee. I used to live in...
Okay. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to leave it there. Because if any conversation in this, it ends up going back to, let's go back 1,000 years. Wafa al-Udaini. Wafa, I'm so sorry. We took a long time to get you on the line. While we're waiting to speak to you, we've got less time. If you're not going to answer my question, then we'll have to leave it. I do appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining.
1,800 deaths, 253 hostages, 604 soldiers, 9,100 rockets from Gaza, 3,100 rockets from Lebanon, and 12,000 terrorists killed. We are all war weary. This is not a war we wanted or started, but it is a war that must be fought to the end. Today, my message is this: if you won't stand with Israel, then at least get out of our way. We don't need your permission to defend our right to exist, and we will not stop until all of our hostages are home and until Hamas is defeated.
There have been 1,000 billions of dollars are coming in as funding to top U.S. universities for these so-called pro-Palestine groups, which are occupying these campuses and giving threats to Jewish students.
1,584 total reported anti-Semitic incidents on college campuses since October 7th. Since October 7th. That's a 700% increase compared to just last year. At 65 institutions of higher education have been placed under investigation since October 7th of last year. 65. So let's take a look at these statistics in action. Let's play a video.
Video shows protesters stacking those barricades and then planting a Palestinian flag in them.
So these clips are just a snippet of the nonsense that we have seen on college campuses since October 7th. This isn't in Gaza. This isn't in the West Bank. This is right here in our country. Institutions of higher education, which are supposed to be great institutions of learning where you develop as an individual, are now places of repression and suppression, depending on who you are. The last photo, George Washington visualized dressed up, I think is one of the most important things that I've seen. That's right here in our nation's capital. It's heartbreaking to see that, and I'm not Jewish, but I empathize with what you two have gone through in your classmates, and not only at your schools, but in dozens of schools across the country.
Is the Islamic Republic of Iran helping Gaza? Well, it depends on what you mean by Gaza. If you mean Hamas, then the answer is yes. But if you mean the people of Gaza, then the answer is no. The Islamic Republic attacked Israel on the 13th of April, and many people around the world were celebrating. These people actually believe that Iran's attack on Israel is somehow helping Gazans, even though the Islamic Republic's attack ended up harming only one person, a 7-year-old Muslim girl. Now, there are a million reasons as to why Iran's attack is not helping anyone in Gaza. Let me share some. Everybody stopped talking about Gaza and started talking about Iran instead. So instead of focusing on things like humanitarian aid not reaching people in need in Gaza, the media is now talking about Tehran, Ayatollah, and their drones.
Iran has started a direct attack on Israel.
Iran launched missiles and drones,
launching over 200 drones.
And besides the media shift, the attack is actually bringing more power to Israel, as the US does not want Israel to respond back, so now the US kind of has to back up Israel's strategy in Gaza. And the saddest part about this attack, which many people are cheering for, is that it hurt a little Muslim child. Can someone please explain to me how that is helping Gaza? Helping Gazans means making sure that humanitarian aid reaches Gazans, not Hamas. Helping Gazans means pushing for peace talks, negotiations, and bargaining, not sending rockets and missiles. So if you think that by attacking Israel you're actually helping Gazans, think.
Senator Graham shuts down leftist reporter.
Thousands of civilians that have died.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be no lever at all for the administration to try to prevent American weapons being used in attacks that even unintentionally end up killing innocent children or
I think Israel is in a fight for its life. That the reason so many Palestinians have been killed is because Hamas has command centers under hospitals. Hamas uses the Palestinian people as human shields. Don't reward their behavior. What you're doing is you're saying Hamas has put Palestinians in the crosshairs of Israel, so stand Israel down? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my friggin' life, is that you tell the person who's about to be wiped off the map, you got to slow down because your enemy is making it hard on the Palestinian people to survive because they choose to put them in harm's way. That is ass backwards.